Before he could recover from his panic, he realized that his wife was his first love 13 years ago. He didn't have time to think about it. At this moment, he only wanted to escape. So he put on his clothes and hurried out. He met his wife's parents walking towards him.
Where's my Ferrari?
What?
Where's my Ferrari?
Hearing this, the father-in-law was shocked and thought his son-in-law must be crazy, because their family has never owned a sports car. In order to find out the truth as soon as possible, Jack ran all the way to the company in his memory. But the security guard at the front desk didn't recognize him. The manager of the company is also his former henchman. No one would have thought that yesterday Jack was a billionaire, wearing tailor-made designer suits every day. He drove a luxury sports car around the city, surrounded by enviable wealth and a lot of beautiful women. However, fate always plays such unexpected tricks. On an ordinary Christmas Eve, he walked into a convenience store. He was followed by a homeless man who was down on his luck. When the homeless man took out a lottery ticket and tried to cash it in, the clerk had no problem questioning him for changing the numbers. But these harsh words infuriated the homeless man.
Check the ticket, stupid! Look at the ticket!
To prevent the situation from escalating, Jack stepped right up to the plate and offered to buy the challenged ticket. His gesture instantly soothed the homeless man's anger. But what happened next was something Jack didn't expect. The homeless man called him by his first name, as if he knew him by name. Jack offered to help him find a real job, but the homeless man asked as if he'd heard a joke.
This man thinks I need to be saved, yo!
Everybody needs something.
Yeah? Well, what do you need, Jack?
Me.
You just said everybody needs something.
I got everything I need.
Wow. It must be great being you.
I'm not saying that you'd be able to do it without some hard work, some honest hard work.
You know, I'm gonna really enjoy this. You just remember that you did this, Jack, okay? You brought this on yourself.
This raggedy hobo would be the turning point in his life. That would change the course of his life. When he got home, Jack fell asleep, exhausted. He had no idea that a change was brewing in his destiny. As the morning sunlight poured into his room, he struggled to open his eyes. He found himself in an unfamiliar bed. What surprised him even more, there was a woman lying on top of him. A closer look. It was Kate, his first love from 13 years ago. Before he could recover from the shock, a song came to his ears.
Santa smells Rudolph later.
Jack was too shocked to move, looking around this strange but cozy home. His mind was in a state of disbelief. He hurriedly got dressed and rushed out the door, but he was shocked by what he saw outside. The busy street he was familiar with had disappeared. What he saw was a quiet town. His limousine had been transformed into a dilapidated car. With confusion and uncertainty, he drove around trying to find answers. When he finally returned to the mansion, he remembered. The security guards stopped him cold. Even the neighbors looked him up and down with unfamiliar eyes, as if they'd never seen him before. The guard's tone was even colder.
Should I call the cops? I'm gonna call the cops.
No, I'm gonna call the cops!
Now I'm going upstairs, we're gonna get some sleep, and then I'll be fine.
Sleep you shall. Noblesse oblige isn't dead. Not yet anyway. Let's get you some help. Surely there's a shelter somewhere in the city.
A shelter? Hey, are you smacked out of your head? I'm the richest man in this building. I've got twice the square footage you have, and I'm going upstairs. Take a walk, pal. Oh, not cool. Not cool!
Helpless, Jack turned around and prepared to leave. He got into his car and went to his old company. He hoped to find something there, but as he stepped into the lobby, he was still stopped by the security guard, and the general manager was replaced. Jack was wandering aimlessly in the streets, lost in thought, and his confusion grew like a weed. At that moment, a Ferrari came speeding by, and almost knocked him down. He looked up angrily. The man in the driver's seat was the homeless man from last night, and the Ferrari was his old car.
That's my car!
Hi, Jack.
You stole my car!
Now, I know this whole thing is really bizarre to you and you're feeling quite shocked, but just hop in. I'll explain everything to you, okay?
Probably gonna want to buckle up, Jack. This thing moves.
On the way there, a homeless man told Jack that no one can have it all. He was just asking Jack to try another life, and in the meantime he'd find something he'd lost. And that's when it all clicked for Jack. 13 years ago, he gave up his first love, Kate, for his career. He wanted to make up for it when he was a successful man, but 13 years later, though he's at the peak of his fortune, he'd long since forgotten his first love. Then the homeless man had to give him a bell.
What's this?
Open it.
Some kind of a signal? Will you come whenever I ring it?
Okay. Look, you want to get some air? Let's get outside, get some air. We'll walk and I'll explain everything to you, okay?
Abandoned on the side of the road, Jack could only rely on the map in his hand to drive back to that remote town, but he had no idea which house to go to, so he pulled over and asked a passerby for help. Coincidentally, the passerby he asked was a friend of his. Then his friend dropped Jack off at home. As soon as he walked in the door, Kate rushed over and hugged him. Her eyes were filled with anxiety and joy. She had called every phone number she could think of. She almost called the police. Jack was overwhelmed by the depth of her concern. It was a warmth he'd never experienced before. But even so, he tried to explain it all. Kate thought it was a joke, so he had no choice. Jack took out the bell the homeless man had given him. The clear ringing didn't bring any answers. Instead, it attracted his daughter's attention. She grabbed the bell, excitedly thinking it was a Christmas present from her father.
I like it. Thanks, Dad.
The child's innocent words left Jack in a state of mixed emotions. He could only accept this reality for the time being. Then Kate reminded him that he had a Christmas dinner to attend tonight. Jack went to the wardrobe. He opened the door and froze. There was nothing but cheap, ordinary clothes hanging in front of him. They didn't fit in with his usual taste for the finer things in life. He quietly picked out something that looked like it would fit. But his daughter saw him. She stared at him for a while and showed a hint of fear, then quickly turned and ran